There's one question that I think about more than any other question. And this question probably is the most important question that you're going to ask yourself for your career and fulfillment. So the question, and this might trigger you, but who gives a fuck? That's good if it triggers you. The question is, if you had the dollar amount that you want in your life, so for me, let's say it's $1 billion, right? I have $1 billion right now in my bank account. How am I spending my days? What am I doing with my days? Like, what do I do from when I wake up to when I go to bed? And then the next question is, if that's what I'll be doing when I have $1 billion, why am I not doing that now? Obviously, like the limitations of money, whatever, but that thing, whatever it is. And so for me, I was thinking about it. I was like, how would my days change when I had $1 billion? And I'd still wake up. I'd still go to jiu-jitsu in the morning. I'd still meet my friends for lunch. I would still do a podcast. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's literally my life right now. I'm like, holy crap. Like, yeah, I'd probably travel. I'd probably, on a whim, fly to Japan and go snowboarding and skiing. But apart from that, apart from the travel aspect, which of course that would be like a major thing, and I'd do that for as long as I want. But then I'm like, jiu-jitsu is really a solid habit of mine now. And like, I can't imagine myself traveling for like a month or 2 months and not training. And yeah, I can do that elsewhere, but it's not really the same, So I'm like, I'm pretty much living my dream life right now in Bali. Like, I don't really have that itch to like be somewhere else, And that's so super fascinating to me because I'm like still suffering. Like I literally had a panic attack last week. But when I asked myself this question of if I had $1 billion right now, what would I be doing with my time? I'm literally doing it. And I'm still putting myself under this stress. And that leads me to another point, which is the emotional side of life. And I remember being in the car on a trip in Nusa Penida, and I was sitting next to this guy. His name's Stephen Munson. He's a successful entrepreneur. And he was telling me about this emotional course that he did at Landmark. And he told me at the time, this was about 3 years ago now, and he said, man, mastering your emotions is life. Like, that's literally life. And whoever does that, like, can have anything and can experience like everything in a greater way. And I had no idea what the hell he was talking about, because here's a guy, myself, that had no awareness about my emotions. Like, even to this day, I'm still practicing it. But it was only like in the last, I'd say 2 or 3 years that I've learned more about emotions. And this leads me into suffering, right? So one of my passions in life is to help people out of suffering. Like, I really hate it when I see people suffer, which is why I want to help them. But one of the issues that I have with business is that I guess I probably just do this myself. I don't know. Maybe you can help me on this. But I feel like we live in a specialist economy, right? So you have to be good at one thing. Like, if you're good at multiple things, you're not that attractive. But if you're really good at one thing, like, I could be really good at multiple things, but I have to just market one thing. And I fucking hate that about just the way the world is, because I don't want to just be the guy that helps you get a six-pack. Like, I'm way more than that. Like, I'm a very multifaceted person. Like, I do a lot of shit. Like, I do stand-up comedy. That's a whole world in itself. I do acting, where I like the acting stuff. And then I do jiu-jitsu, and then I do these videos. I geek out on marketing, and I love geeking out on relationships and human communication and psychology. So I do a lot of things, and I'm good at all these things. Like, I love communication. Like, I'm such a nerd. Like, I love it. I love learning why people do what they do, the social dynamics, all that stuff. But then I only have to sell how to get six-pack or how to get lean. And I'm like, that's why I kind of fell out of love with my work for a bit. Because I was like, I'm selling people something that I don't think is I don't even really spend much time on worrying about why people aren't getting a six pack. Like, I don't spend time thinking about that. What I spend time thinking about is deeper shit. Like, for example, the guy that's overweight. I worry about his family. I look at his kids and I'm like, I'm worried for them because their father is abusing his health. And that is having a massive effect on his kids, whether he realizes it or not. It's having a massive effect. First of all, you're sending out the message that your health doesn't matter. That's a subconscious message that your kids are learning. And second of all, it's telling your kids that you don't care about yourself. And thirdly, you're giving them bad eating habits that you have. So I care about that deeply because I care about the ripple effect of someone's actions. And, you know, that's more meaningful to me than someone wanting to lose the last little bit of belly fat. Like, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, I honestly couldn't. That's why when I started marketing my course, when I first started out 5 years ago, I had all these people like, Aaron, how do I get the last little bit of body fat gone? I'm like, I don't really care about that problem, right? Obviously, business is about solving problems, but these customers that I had at the start, I just couldn't be bothered to. I was just like, oh, fuck's sake, he wants to, like, he's optimizing for the wrong thing. He thinks that getting a six pack is going to make him happy. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I've got a six pack. Like, look, I'm fucking ripped as fuck. I've been ripped as fuck for 5 years, right? I'm like, average day, 8% body fat. Is that a healthy goal for you to be optimizing for? If you're, you know, when you're pissed, you can't see your penis? No, it's probably not. Probably not a good idea to optimize for my level of body fat, because that's just going to stress you out in trying to get there. It's like being attached to the outcome is actually going to prevent you from getting the outcome. And that concept is a crazy concept that I've been coming to terms with recently, of like, my detachment from what I want is how I get what I want, because I focus on the process rather than the outcome. See, everyone wants the result, everyone wants the event, but no one wants to go through the process, which is why people don't get the result. So everyone wants to be funny on stage, for example, in stand-up comedy, but no one wants to do the fucking work to write all the jokes. And that's the hard work. And when you're on stage, that's the event that people want. They want to be funny, they want to mesmerize audiences, but the grind, ain't nobody interested in the grind. Obviously, you know this. In every industry, anything is the same. It's the same shit. Anyway, I'm talking about a lot of topics now, but I want to get back to the emotions. It's like, I have fantasies about shit that I've already experienced. For example, like, I used to have a fantasy. I used to be on welfare, and my fantasy was, when I make, let's even say 100 grand, my life is going to be completely different. Guess what? I made 100 grand. Wasn't that different? I could go more places, but it wasn't that much different. What I really valued was the love aspect. So what the money could enable me to do, which is what I did. One of my dreams was to take my dad, he loves football, like soccer, he loves it. I took my dad and my brother, who both love football, and we flew out from England to Spain to go and watch the El Clasico, which is Barcelona against Real Madrid. And at the time, Cristiano Ronaldo was playing for Real Madrid, and Lionel Messi was playing for Barcelona. And we got to watch both of them, the two best players in the world, on the same pitch in Barcelona. And it was just amazing. Like, that was like a dream event that was only made possible by my business that gave me the money to do that. But the whole goal of that was just so I could experience the emotion of love. Being with my father, being with my brother. When I think about that memory, the emotion that is the umbrella over that memory is love. So basically, I want to feel more love. That's what I'm optimizing for in my life. And so it's interesting how the money is just a means to accomplish that feeling. Like, I want to feel more love. What's going to help me do that is money, right? So this is how I was thinking about it. And love is actually my number one value, right? You asked me, what was the happiest moment in your life? That was one of them. And the second one, well, the biggest one, was when my brother came to surprise me for my 30th birthday here in Bali. Like, the amount of love I felt that day was just on another level, because I was there not only with my brother surprised me, but I was there with my best friends in Bali at the time, and that was just the icing on the cake, you know. So it's not about the number for me. It's about what it represents. You know, like that evening took money to fund that. You know, I paid for everyone's dinner. And so that's what I optimize for with like money and stuff, is freedom, is experience the emotion of love. Like everything we do in life is for a feeling. And, you know, it's interesting how we do drugs. Well, I don't do drugs, but other people do drugs, right? And it's all just to change how they feel. So everything's about that. And I was thinking about it in terms of energy too. So who do I want to be around? Like, what kind of people do I want to be around? I want to be around people who are excited about life, people who are passionate about something, people who are good at something, like people who make me a better person. Like, these are the people I want to be around, right? I want to talk about meaningful stuff. I want to experience more meaningful things and have better conversations and, you know, not talk about the fucking weather. Who gives a fuck? Like, I don't want to talk about politics all day. Like, I just don't. That's not how I view living a great life, is bitching about who's in fucking office. Who cares? Like, that doesn't have an effect on my life. And if it does, I'll be interested just so I can, you know, improve my life. But I'm just learning, man. As you grow older, they say you give less fucks, right? And I resonate with that so deeply, because I think what's the saying? When you're 20, in your 20s, you think everyone cares about you, and then you care about everything else. And then in your 30s, you start to care less. Your 40s, you start to care even less. And then your 60s, you realize no one even cared about you anyway, or something like that, right? And it's crazy, because as the more I live life, the more I realize how little fucks I give about most things. Like, I don't care about most things. There's only a few things I care about. And the crazy thing to me is I've been suppressing the things that I believe strongly in, like my beliefs. And I look at my people that I'm surrounded by, and I'm like, some of these people, they don't really know who I am, because they know the person that I have molded myself to be to please them. And it's crazy, because I was listening to Will Smith's book recently, and he was talking about how his whole life, like his existence, is to please others. Like, that's what he said. He's like, I'm a performer. Like, and I feel like that too. Like, I feel like I'm a performer. My existence is to please you. Like, I need to put on a good show for you. And that's why I like stand-up comedy. That's why I like acting. I love being in the limelight. I love the attention. I fucking love it. Like, right now, I'm in my element. Like, if this is my last fucking minute on earth, I would be doing what I'm doing right now. Like, that's how much I love making videos. And just talking. Like, I love expressing myself, right? And I've been trying to dim my light for so long, and it's actually what's been causing my issues, like my suffering. Like, some days I wake up, I'm just like, I'm fucking unhappy, man. What the fuck's going on? Like, why is everyone else succeeding so big, and these guys are not smarter than me? Fuck's sake, he's saying the same shit I fucking think, but he's saying it. He has the courage to say it. I think this shit, but he's saying it. So that's why he's getting the results and I'm not. Like, you know, stuff like that. I'm just like, there's a lot of stuff I see, like, especially in the podcasting world, for example. And, you know, I understand everything's a process, right? So, like, certain people have bigger audiences than me. Like, I don't really have a big audience at the moment. And I'm just like, the attachment to needing a bigger audience actually is what's causing me to not have a bigger audience. Like, fuck. I just need to focus on the process, right? Not the event. The event is, this video's got 100,000 views, 1 million views. That's the event. But the process to get there, if I don't enjoy that, that's fucking life. So basically, I'm not enjoying life if I'm not enjoying the process, because most of life is during the process. Like, we're always in the process. So, like, I'm like, fuck. This person's saying the stuff that I always say. This person's further ahead than me. But the first 6 months of anything are going to suck, right? And that's the thing, that's the reality I've come to, is like, it's going to suck for the 6 months and just got to suck it up, you know, and keep doing what I want to be doing. Because the energy is what people want. Like, that's what helps everything. It's like the energy that I'm bringing. Like, when I'm unhappy, in an unhappy state, when I see someone who's excited about life, I want that. I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah. Like, when I see someone who's fucking singing and that's what they love to do and they're doing their thing, that's one of the most beautiful things in the world, to watch someone in their element. It's fucking amazing. And so I'm just like, wow, why don't I just step into what I love to do? If I had $1 billion right now, what would I be doing? Would I still do stand-up comedy? Hell fucking yeah, I would. Because it's me getting better at what I like to do, which is presenting, people pleasing, right? I don't like to people please, but given the context of the job of stand-up comedy, what a comedian is doing, he's fucking people pleasing. Like he or she, that's what they're doing. Their whole job is to please people by making them laugh. And you validate me by laughing at what my jokes are. It's a crazy job, fucking crazy job. It's all based on external validation. You need to validate me by laughing. If you don't laugh, that means I'm shit, which it literally does. And, well, in the context of telling jokes. Not shit as a person, but if you're still watching, by the way, congratulations. Like, we should hang out. Fuck it hell. You're just watching me ramble. That's another thing, right? Imposter syndrome. Like, that's a big thing that I struggle with. I don't know how many other people struggle with it, but I think it's a big problem. Even now, as I'm making this video, I'm like, why would people watch this far in? Like, what the fuck? Who am I for them to, why are they interested in what I have to say? Like, and again, peeling back the layers on that, ultimately the core is like the belief, I don't believe this, but the belief that has been there was, why are people listening to me? I'm not worth listening to. Who am I, you know? And this whole imposter syndrome is, I didn't realize how big of a problem it was, but it's fucking huge. And I experience it pretty much all the time, you know? Like, with the comedy, it's like, who am I to compare myself to Dave Chappelle? Of course, that's true. Who am I to compare me? He's fucking amazing. I'm just a dude that's done comedy 4 times. But, you know, who am I to compare myself to Will Smith, even though I read his book and I feel like I'm fucking the same as him? Who am I to compare myself? That's Will Smith. I'm just me. What have I done? I ain't accomplished what Will Smith's accomplished. This is all the stuff that's going in my head. And I just thought I'd just share this shit because I don't think most people are being real online. And that's part of the problem. Like, I don't like to point fingers, but Instagram, my friend's mom said this. She said, Instagram, social media, it's the land of not enough. Like, we live in that world of not enough. Like, you go on Instagram and you see someone's chapter 20 and you're like, fuck my life. That's their fucking chapter 20. They've been doing this shit for 10 years. And you're comparing yourself to someone who's been doing something consistently for 10 years. But that's the comparison game that we're all in. Especially myself. Like, I can't talk for anyone else, but I know that's happening. But let's just talk about me, for example, for right now. Because I don't want to keep preaching. Because that's another thing. Like, I don't like who I am when I'm preaching a message. Like, I just like to share my experience. So that was me, man. Like, compare myself, even to my friends, you know, like, I'm probably, like, I have friends that are making 1 to 10 million, 20 million, 30 million a year. And I'm probably the least successful financially out of all my friends. And that's not fucking nice to think about. It's really not. Doesn't mean I don't make money. It just means that I'm not making as much as them. You see what I'm saying? And so now I'm like comparing myself. I'm like, fuck, I'm not as good as them because I'm not making as much money as them. And then I'm thinking, why am I basing my self-worth on money? Why am I attaching what's inside to something external? Then comparing that external thing with other people. It's like, that's not who I am. Ultimately, what we all want is love and acceptance. We want to be accepted and loved for who we are, not what we do. See, most people confuse what they do with who they are. And that's asked backwards. It's like, I'm a human first, then what I do comes next. So it's interesting, that concept, because when I'm at jiu-jitsu, for example, the other day, one of my training partners, she said to me, you know what, you seem really successful. And she didn't even know what I did at this point, but she just said that to me by how I carry myself. And that's why she likes me as a person. Because she doesn't even know what I do, but she just likes me as a person. And what does that require for someone to like you as a person? It requires them to see your values, right? Because aside from money, what is your values? Like, for example, in jiu-jitsu, one guy, it was like choking out all the girls, right? And he's new, And then he was like choking the girls. And these girls are new. They're like just brand new to jiu-jitsu. But he's like choking them and shit. And I'm just like, why are you doing that to these girls, you know? But that's the kind of person I am. It's just, I'm a nice person. I'm kind, you know? I'm not going to choke you out when you first come to jiu-jitsu class if you don't know jiu-jitsu. Like, I'll choke out the guy who's been training for 2 years because he knows jiu-jitsu. But if you just joined, I'm not going to do that to you because that's very uncomfortable feeling and it's just not nice. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, I know other submissions that I can do that won't be nasty on you, you know? So it's just like your values shine through, as my coach says. Like, he knows like my values, so he knows that when a new person comes in, he can pair them with me and they'll be safe, they'll be fine. Because my values are showing that, right? Like, who I am as a human. And for me, I spent a lot of my life becoming a better human. Like, how can I become a better human being and not lose myself in the process, right? So I can be proud of who I am. And that's ultimately, like, that's worth more than anything I could ever get. Because I think I've met a lot of people in my life. Like, money's great. I don't talk shit about money because you need money, right? Very important. But I've met a lot of people who are optimizing for more wealth and they're not a good person. So that's only going to basically make them more of an asshole, basically. And you see it, you know, like, you got people that, I spoke to some guys too. The guy's making 200K a month and he wants to scale to $1 million a month, but his employees fucking hate him. It's just, and he knows it too. The good thing about him is he was aware that, you know, he struggles to be empathetic, you know, struggles to give a shit about people. He just cares more about money than he does about people and wonders why his people are not performing to make him more money, because he's not caring about their kid or their relationship with their partner or just their life, you know. He's not caring about that. He's like, do the fucking work and that's it. And ultimately, people need more than that, right? You can't just expect someone to do something and be a robot. People are not robots. People have emotions. People have shit going on. And the skill, the empathy that you need to lead is really important. And this is something that comes naturally to me. So much so that I told you earlier, if you're still watching, that I had a panic attack, right, last week. And that was because I was taking responsibility for how someone else feels. That's empathy, right? But it's not technically empathy. It's like, empathy is feeling the feelings of another, right? That's literally what it means in the dictionary. So, but I was taking that too far and being responsible for how they feel. It's not my responsibility that they feel like that, right? But I was taking responsibility for their suffering. And that's why I had a panic attack, right? Because I'm feeling too much. But having that ability to feel what someone else feels, that's probably one of the biggest life skills. And for me, it comes naturally to me. I want to understand what's going on in your world. Tell me what's going on. Like, why do you think like that? Where does this come from? You know, like, how comes this is happening? How comes this keeps happening? Like, I want to understand. And that's why I like the coaching, because coaching is all about understanding. Like, you come to me, you say, hey, I want a six pack, or hey, I want to get healthier, right? I want to have better blood work. You know, I want to stop feeling tired all the time. You come to me with these issues, and I need to ask you more questions about how long it's been happening. Like, what are the symptoms? What are you feeling every day? Like, what's going on? You know, like, what are you eating? Like, I need to know more about your situation to actually help you get past this. And that's a sign of a real expert. Like, that's why I get so triggered when I'm trying to find help for myself, like leveling up in different areas. Because very few people will actually take the time to understand me and what my problem is. So therefore, again, this is when my mentor said this, my business mentor, he said, people buy when they feel understood, not when they understand you. So people trying to make me understand them when I'm like, I just want to be understood. So then I feel like you can solve my problem, right? So yeah, I'm really passionate about that. I'm like, it's hard to find, man. Like, you want help from me. Let's say you want help with your relationship, right? It's one of the things I coach on. And I need to know exactly what's going on with your relationship. Like, we're going to get down to some deep personal shit because I need to know what's going on. Like, how long you been with her? or him? What's going on? What are the issues? What are your biggest complaints? What do you blame him for? What do you wish he would do more of? And why is that? And going deep into that. And I just love it. Like I did 12 weeks of coaching with one of my clients in particular, and the result was, at the end of it, he broke up with his girlfriend. And I didn't tell him to do that. He just did it on his own accord because of the realizations he came to as a result of our coaching sessions, right? Like I would ask him a question that would make him think, and then he'd go away and then he would realize stuff about himself that he was suppressing. Like he was trying to please her and not piss her off, but in so doing, he was actually pissing himself off because he wasn't being true to himself. And so these things happen, you know, and seeing his patterns, like what happens in this current relationship has also happened in his other relationships. Now, I'm not no fucking guru or shrink. I can just see patterns, right? I can see, oh, he did this here, and that also happened there and there and there, but he's not aware of it, so he keeps doing the same thing. So I'm helping him break the pattern so he can have more love and fulfillment in his life, and that's ultimately what we all want. Like the reason why someone's overweight is because most of the time they feel like they're not being loved. They feel unloved, right? And they don't have enough love in their life or enough fulfillment. So they're eating their feelings, right? They're eating because they don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel worthy of love. And all of these things, when you understand them, like you can easily help people with these things. And, you know, I'm so passionate about health and relationships and also wealth too. But it's just like I can coach more. I've had more experience with health and relationships. But I'm so passionate about business too. Like it's those three areas, right? Health, wealth, relationships is the biggest areas of life that we all need help with. So if you've watched this far and you're still watching, congratulations. What can I say? Give me feedback on this, because this is just me just rambling, right? But if you actually enjoy what I'm talking about, or you want me to expand on certain things that I've touched on, let me know, because I actually need you to help me target what I'm saying more. Because I can talk about so much stuff, as you can see, but help me out here. Like, let me know what you resonated with, what you would like me to elaborate on or do a video on, and I'll do it. You know, this is the stuff that I think is meaningful in life. Like, I like to talk about things that's actually going to help you improve the quality of your life. Like Jimmy Carr, he said, the meaning of life is to enjoy the passage of time. And I resonate with that so much, because we're only here for 100, 120 years, whatever. So the meaning of life is literally, I believe what he said. It's just to enjoy our experience. We're just experiencing life here. Like, there's trees behind me. They're going to be here long after I'm gone, maybe. I don't know. But nature's still going to be here after we die. Life is still going to go on. Life goes on, right? And so the whole goal of the human experience, whilst we're here, whilst you're watching this, the whole goal of our lives is to enjoy life as much as possible. Which is ironic, because most of us don't fucking enjoy life, which is like the biggest head fuck, right? It's like suffering. We're suffering so much because we're attached to these goals that we think we should have based on what other people have achieved, and it's not even what we really want. Another topic for another day. So whatever you liked, just let me know below, and I will make sure to do more videos on it. So yeah, I've learned so much over the years, being in Bali especially. It's the land of the coaches, land of the healers. I've seen a lot of healers. I live with a coach. I'm a coach. So yeah, lots of insights. It's all about going inwards. All right, well, I'm out of chat for now. I'm going to go and do a little shoulder workout. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Let me know what you thought of this video, what you want me to expand on, what you want me to talk about more, and let's get a conversation going. All right, ciao.